Welcome to this month's Vicky's Bookcase Bullet Journal review. Well, it's not really a review, it's me doing stuff in my bullet journal, or rather my reading bullet journal. Anyway, I'm digressing. I thought I'd share with you my August bullet journal layout for the month, and the theme for this month is Portal. Now you may be wondering, what is Portal? What are you talking about? Well, Portal just happens to be one of my favourite games to play. It is all about this psychopathic robot called Gladys, who is obsessed with testing usually this one person over and over again in the name of science, I should say, not to. And it's really quite funny because I have a real soft spot in my heart for Gladys even, because she is just so funny. She's actually, I'm just laughing even thinking about it. Now you think I'm totally mad. So moving on from my madness, I thought I would do the theme of Portal this month, just because it's something that's really, really different compared to what I've been doing the last several months. It's very futuristic and sciencey, so I decided that as I was going kind of the science way this month, I would try experimenting myself. I decided to do this by deciding to paint this entire page black with just the outline of little different things that I wanted to have in different colours. I really don't think this worked that well. I mean, the paint was great, but for some bizarre reason, I don't know why, I don't know if you can see it very well, but no matter how much I painted over one or two spots, we actually had weird white bits that were showing through. Don't ask me why, I just don't know. It's just weird. Maybe I just rubbed a bit out, because if you notice this month I actually haven't shown you my outline drawings because I thought they might be a bit boring. Well, anyway, I don't want to make you feel bored watching this. I'd rather you just watch and enjoy and then laugh at my attempts. Well, actually, maybe not laugh too much, just a request not to laugh too much at my very poor attempts this month. I have to say, ever since I did that really great medieval one a couple of months ago, I've not really reached the pinnacle of greatness with anything since then. But I can but try and make it better. So what I'm currently doing in this double layout is I'm at the bottom, just in case you're wondering, it is supposed to be painting in August. That's the other thing that you learn when you're experimenting with paint, is that if you're painting and trying to do very straight words, it just doesn't work. I have such a heavy hand and I cannot draw anything straight, or come to think of it, this is painting, so I can't paint anything straight to save my life, and it really does show. You'll see kind of more of that right at the very end. Now you may also be wondering why I actually haven't started the title page. I thought that since this is the most heavy-going paint-orientated page, that I'd do this first and let it dry, especially as I wasn't entirely sure that we were going to have a dry day outside and it'll probably stay wet forever and a day. Actually, it didn't take too long to dry at all. In fact, it was like 20 minutes or something like that, which I was very pleased about. But then, really, it was all very streaky. Let's be honest, it's streaky. I probably would have done better if I actually just got a couple of pieces of black paper and then just stuck them in and just stuck all the stuff I wanted to on top of it. That probably would have been a bit better, but kind of not as much fun as painting or attempting to paint all the outlines, I have to say. Having said that, I was really pleased with my man that I drew. Well, I say man, actually, if you played the game, you know very well that the main protagonist is actually a woman and you're fighting against a female, oh dear, I'm not saying things right today, a female robot. And if you haven't played Portal, I really, really do recommend it because it is just hilarious. And the best thing about it is, it's not really a shoot 'em game. In fact, it's not a shoot 'em up game at all, which I kind of really appreciate because sometimes I really do get sick of shoot 'em ups and kill 'em alls. This is a really nice, clever one where you actually have to work out different puzzles, and then you have a really sarcastic robot in the background testing you or helping you out. Well, she doesn't really help you out, but she's just so funny. I sometimes wish I had a GLaDOS in my life, and then I remembered that she is a psychopathic robot who will test you till you're dead. She also offers you cake, which is also very much of a seduction for me because I do love a bit of cake. And then you also remember that throughout the thing you see plastered on different walls, if you go and explore different bits, that the cake is a lie. Really do believe that the cake is a lie. Now, anyway, as you can see, I have painting. I decided, by the way, that I'm really, really impatient and I really should learn from this month, and in fact last month, that impatience does get the better of me. And it gets the better of me, especially when I'm painting the orange. The blue is fine, mostly, I say. I'm just looking and seeing, yeah, the blue is fine. It's the orange. The black stuff around the orange just wasn't dry. And then I painted my orange. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, really, aren't I? Let's just wait a second. Come on, Mr. Orange. Are we there yet? Oh, yeah, that was me deciding that I wanted this one colour and then realising, no, that's still the wrong colour. You'd also think that I have my swatch nearby. If you're doing bullet journaling like I am, you might want to have your swatches nearby just so you can see what colour it does dry when it dries. I do have one, just so you know, but I can never be bothered to get it out, and at this moment I have to confess, because my office is in a disarray because we were supposed to be having it plastered. Well, plastered from about 6 months ago. I still haven't found everything because we've moved it all and I still haven't got anything in the right places, so your guess is as good as mine. Oh, actually, we've moved on to the next page. Well, that was quick. I was too busy thinking about where my swatches are. That's what it is. So on this next page, as you can see, it's if you do painting on your bullet journal, this is watercolors. It doesn't absorb it very well because it's not specific watercolor paper, so it will get all this bobbliness. And if I'm really honest, I don't actually care, because I really like the fact that my journal is getting a bit more of a personality, and that includes the wrinkly crinkly papers. Anyway, so in the very bottom corner, I decided to keep it very, very simple, and I decided to draw in something called a companion cube. Now in the game, the companion cube is something, it's just an actual cube, as you can see from this picture, and it just holds down these buttons. But they call them companion cube because the Gladys introduces them as a friend, kind of, and then she takes it away. It's very sad. Not in a sad way, but in a sarcastic sad way. Anyway, so I do try and draw this cube, and again, I seriously, impatience is getting way better of me because I'm doing this, and I decided to do it this time in the watercolour pencils that I have rather than in the watercolour paint, because the cube is supposed to be mostly grey. And I did do it, and then I just coloured it in a little bit quickly, and then I just painted water over it to just make it a bit more watercolour-y like, and it kind of worked. And then I decided to just colour in pencil again, all the dark bits, and I did that, and then I looked at it and I thought, oh, then that's just rubbish. It's really rubbish. So I ended up going around in pen, and then worse, and you just see me do it, I used a rubber. That's a mistake. And I still don't learn from it because I do it again later. It was really stupid, and it just, yeah, I'd be glad you can't see it very close up unless you've got a really big screen, and I'm really sorry I just messed that up. Anyway, moving on to the second one. This is my favourite actually, because in the story of the game, in fact in the second game I should say, you get to a certain bit and it kind of does a little bit of history, which again actually I really, really enjoyed. And they talk about it in one bit where if life gives you lemonade, you make lemons, you give can't say it today. If life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. But in the thing, it actually goes, burn the house down. If life gives you lemons, you burn life's household down. That is absolutely hilarious. And that's why, if I ever actually move my hand, you'll be able to see that the lemon is made into a grenade. And I put a little quote at the bottom going, if life gives you lemons, then burn life's house down. Because that is, again, a direct quote, and it's very funny. You actually can't also see the fact that I drew yellow flames in a yellow gel pen around it. It's not very brilliant, but I really enjoyed doing that. That was my favourite one, and that's the one that turned out the best. Now, I'm really sorry about this, but I had actually forgotten that I was filming when doing this, so I'm afraid I'm a bit cut off to the side for the last page, which is the Book of the Month page. I don't know why I had forgotten that I was filming. I think I was kind of enjoying myself with the lettering by this stage, because that is the one bit that I actually got right in this page, is the lettering. And I quite like the little slanted lettering. It is very much on par with the actual lettering from the game itself again, because it is at a slant. So overall, I think it works quite well. Now, I decided for the last page to do a cake because the main gist of the story is you're working through these tests to do a cake, which is great because who doesn't like cake? But the cake is a lie, so I do add that in a little bit at the end. Now, I did change my mind halfway through doing the cake because I was going to paint it all, and then when I tried painting with one colour I didn't like it, so I changed my mind and I used the watercolour crayons instead, and I just watercoloured that in as well. I also did the cream as a weird silvery colour because I thought, well, cream is white but I'd like to add some silver to it. That kind of didn't work either ish. Well, at least you can't see it very well from the picture you're looking at, which I'm quite grateful for. In my enthusiasm to actually do the other pages, that I actually forgot to finish doing this page, and as you can see from some of the spotty white bits that I talked about earlier, you can see that for some reason the paint didn't cover that, and I did try a couple of times to paint over it but it just didn't work. Anyway, so I've gone back to this because as you can tell, I actually filmed this entire thing in sequence, and you can see where I've actually gone back and forth, which is very unusual for me because usually I do one whole page then move on, but since this time I was quite excited the fact that the paint was dry and I could just turn the page over. I just carried on and then came back later on to do the paint, the last little bits for this one. So here I'm writing all the numbers in for the month, and I'm painting in, well, not really painting, I'm actually drawing in August as well. As usual, I don't actually put the days of the week in because I tend to forget what day of the week I'm currently on, other than the fact that I know it's a specific date. I blame that disease that cannot be named currently. Anyway, so I'd used a Tombow marker just in case you're curious. I just used a black Tombow marker with a felt tip edge just to draw around the line, draw around the character even, not draw around the lines because we're not drawing around lines, we are drawing the line. Anyway, I thought I'd use the black to try and also maybe blot out some of the white bits, but it's still really blotty. And that's why I'm glad that I've done this. I'm not glad at the same time. I can't make my mind up whether this is way worse than last month, because last month I just went wrong throughout the thing, and now I'm kind of almost creating the same mistakes because I'm far too impatient. This is a mistake you need to learn from. Please don't be impatient like I am. If you're impatient, this is what happens. Things go streaky or white blotchy or wonky. Having said that, I do feel quite proud that I've actually managed to do this every single month for this year. So there is that instead. We're on the very last bit before I show you the grand reveal, although you've probably already seen it. And I decided to do the scientific symbol for the actual science, not museum, that's the wrong word. I keep thinking museum, I think it's the historian in me. So in the game, the actual science business grouping company, we're going to go with company, it's called Aperture Science. So I thought it'd be really funny if instead of doing Aperture I'd do August and I'd cross out Aperture after drawing it and having laboratories underneath, so it'd be August Laboratories. And it took me ages, by the way, to figure out how to draw their symbol, their circle symbol. That was just ridiculously long, and I finally managed it. That was the other thing I'm really proud of, that I managed to do that circle. But when I did the Aperture and then put August above it, I really liked the fact that I did Aperture. I did that really, really well for me. And then I put a cross for it, and I really regret putting the cross for it. I am absolutely regretting it. Anyway, so let's just slow this down a little bit. Oh yeah, and I forgot to finish off this one. I'm terrible. I was going through it, flicking through it, and then I was like, wait, I didn't actually finish the Book of the Month page. I just half did it. Well, at least I got there in the end, I suppose. Anyway, so here's my title page, my tracking pages, my TBR unread pages, and last of all, my Book of the Month page. So at least I managed to get it all done in the end. Phew, it is a bit of a relief. So if you enjoyed what you saw, please feel free to subscribe, and if you want to make any comments, you can find me on Instagram at Miss Vicky's Bookcase, and eventually we're going to be having a website where you can also find other goodies. I shall see you next time.